Is already started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Data Storage, Backup, and Business Continuity with only one software. Is that possible? So the webinar is done for our great friend from Thomas-Krenn and managed by OpenE. In my person, Krzysztof Franek, I am running OpenE since day one, since 1998. Just a short introduction. I am already 30 years in IT business. Hard to believe, but in June 1986, I started to work for my first computer company, and I am still very loyal to computers and all the time doing nothing else but computers and related stuff. I had luck to work for great companies like Logitech, like Freeware, Kenwood. Well, my really serious experience I was gaining running Aztec Systems, the Singaporean company producing multimedia, modems, and so on. This was just for 6 years before I started OpenE. But yes, in 9 of September 1908, I was founding OpenE, and it's already over 19 years. Over those 19 years, we became a global company. We have our headquarters in United States. The company was getting in 2007 founding from OpenView Venture Partners, the Boston venture capital company. So also in this year we moved headquarters from Germany to United States. This is why we are now American corporation. Well, still our majority of our business is in Germany, but the business is really global. We are selling in over 100 countries in the world. We sold more than 30,000 licenses globally so far. We have hundreds of certified partners. We have over 1,000 of partners who are not listed but working with us. Big guys like Intel, LSI, well today Broadcom, Microsemi, and so on. All the big hardware vendors are working with OpenE, like equal to them partner, what makes us really very happy and very proud, because this type of the cooperation we need. It means every new hardware, every new stuff which is coming to the market, we know first, we are able to prepare ourselves, we are able to prepare our software for our customer for the situation when the products are on the market. We have today 40 engineers which are located in Poland. By the way, I was introducing myself, but I didn't mention that I am Polish, living in here in Germany and partly in United States since well over 25 years now. So this is why our developer team is located in Poland, and well, big part of our resources. Here in Germany we have sales, marketing, support, administration, and the same we have in United States. So, and we have a sales office also in Japan. With Hero we are working since day one of OpenE. So we have a really nice presence so far away from our location here. Well, I think that that's about company, about us. So let me come to the also important information about cooperation with Thomas-Krenn. We work together with Thomas-Krenn, if I remember correctly, since 2004, 2005 maybe. We had some good time on the very beginning, then later tough time. Well, OpenE, as every company, was having childhood sicknesses, so we had some problems with our product. It was hurting, unfortunately, Thomas-Krenn customers, so we paused our cooperation, but since few years the cooperation is back again, and well, in Polish we are saying that all the love get not rust. So this is what happened in our case, and I hope that we will be now really developing and growing our work together. Today Thomas-Krenn is OpenE's gold partner, but very soon Thomas-Krenn will be becoming a platinum partner. We are just finishing the certification of Thomas-Krenn server, so this is the final step to get the status of Thomas-Krenn on the highest level, but the cooperation is already platinum, I believe. Well, what is really great is that we have fully trained teams and full understanding between two companies, so we are now really counting on the growing up our cooperation, our work together. We are talking today about backup and storage and business continuity. We do it based on our software, which is called OpenE Jovian DSS. OpenE is developing software based on Linux since ever. In 2001 we started to do the commercial product. In 2003 we started to sell it. I believe that everybody of you know DSS v7, which is our current, let's say, old shape product. But my engineers were always pushing me to go for ZFS. And the reason was that ZFS is the file system which was done purely for storage. And the problem was with ZFS that yes, it was open source over the Open Solaris, but in those days when it was becoming open source, the situation was very unclear on the market what will happen because there was a lot of fights between the big guys in a lot of court cases and so on. So between Linux and not Linux, EMC and so on. So we were a little bit scared that if from those fights the ZFS on open source will be not allowed to be used, then we will be investing a lot of time and get nothing. But when Oracle bought Sun Microsystems, when there was a strong cut done and ZFS was really becoming open source, we proved it, and so this is why in 2012 we started the new line of software based on ZFS and Linux together. So this is how Jovian DSS was born. We started selling Jovian in 2014. So now we are having like 3 years of matured product. We sold already several hundreds of copies of Jovian, and every release the product is getting better and better. But what is great with Jovian, why we like ZFS so much, the first thing is thanks to Linux. Linux is just giving us hardware independence. Every hardware manufacturer, motherboards and networking cards, RAID controllers, whatever, every hardware manufacturer is producing two drivers. One driver is for Microsoft, the second driver is for Linux. When people are using also ZFS but based on FreeBSD or well, today we don't have even Open Solaris, but they still Illumni or anything else, then those drivers are waiting and waiting, or software manufacturer need to create those drivers by themselves. In our case, well, every hardware comes with Linux driver. So theoretically, from very beginning, every hardware should work with OpenE software. But to be on the safe side, we are also checking, proofing it before we are releasing it fully, and making sure that that the product is really working, and so you can find all the hardware on our hardware compatibility list. So yes, we are getting hardware independence. Then, thanks to ZFS, we are getting bunch of beautiful features which are coming for free with this file system, like thin and over provisioning, online deduplication and compression, self-healing, unlimited snapshots, and many more. In the end of the presentation, we have a list of all of those features. So if somebody will be interested, we can speak a little bit more about it. The also great thing is petabyte scalability. ZFS is called ZFS because of zettabytes. It means that capacity which is really hard to imagine, but well, this is theory because practically we can speak about petabytes. We sold software already for over 2 petabytes, and this is in production. So if we made already few such sales, but physically we were testing our software on 5 petabytes. So today we believe that without any problem, if you will have any orders which are coming to the level of 5 petabyte, it should work easily. We know that Oracle is offering, also based on ZFS of course, is offering solutions for 9 petabyte. And this we cannot sign because we never try, but we also believe that it should work. So rather for sure it is 5 petabyte and most probably 9 petabyte. I wish you will get a lot of such orders. So, and I wish that we all will have a problem how to manage such big capacities. Okay, on top of the stuff what we are getting for free, or maybe one more remark. Yes, this was the reason that we decided for ZFS, because this stuff what I was mentioning, we are getting for free coming with this file system. Previous software, all this functionality what we have, we had to work, we had to write many lines of code, test it and so on. So additional stuff which was additional work for us, and in case of ZFS we just get it. So this is why we decided to go for this file system to make such big change. It's much easier to keeping developing the current version, but we decided to go for ZFS just because of these reasons. So having ZFS, we were able now to add the additional things like on and offsite data protection, like make true high availability using our software, like making RAM and SSD caching. In this presentation, I would like to remind everybody of us things which are obvious, things which everybody knows, but I assume that all the attenders of this meeting are mostly salespeople. So salespeople are talking to customers, and we are all forgetting about obvious things. We know them for every day. So in this presentation, we will be reminding about obvious things that we will be able to remind this to our customers, and in end of the end of the day, help them, and in end of the day, sell our solutions. So the offices used to be full of paper. We had everything was printed, everything was made in the bunch of the copies which were filed in the different places, paper everywhere. We were getting a lot of magazines and so on. Even if you think just few years ago, we were still having tons of pictures which were printed. Only when pads, different type of tablets were coming to the market, the pictures were disappearing. The printed pictures were disappearing. So this is also happening with different type of the documents. We are having less and less documents in the offices, printed documents, and everything is digitalized. But in the past, when one document was missed, when the one file was missed, it was not a big disaster. But today, if there is any small dysfunction, any bit or byte in data, in software is missed, then it can be a really big disaster. It can destroy all the data in the company. So this is really critical, and this is something what we don't remember until disaster is happening. Computers are very complicated machines, and small thing can destroy everything. So this is what we need to remember, and we need to repeat to our customers. And well, the things can be broken by themselves. We even don't know why, but the data can be lost. But we have also hackers in our life today. We can have people who are just unhappy with the company, and they can also corrupt, delete, remove, whatever with data. Also, well, by coincidence, by mistake, we can also delete and remove data or corrupt it for any somehow. There are a lot of studies in internet. If you will be looking in, if you will make a search, then there will be a lot of data which is confirming that when the company today is losing data, then in the very most cases such company is just out of business. Well, this is pretty obvious. When you think that fire will destroy your company, then insurance will pay money back. So very easily, very soon you can buy new furniture, you can buy new computers, and practically within few days you can make the company running again. But when you lose your data, there is no company. So this is why the data is so critical. This is why data is the very important, the most important stuff in the company life today. And it means we need to keep data. It means that to keep data, we need to make copies. We need to make backups of the data to be able to restore and to, if any disaster happens, to make the company running again. But this is a good thing for us, for salespeople, because obviously most of the companies in the world are still making a lot of mistakes. For example, the backups are kept locally. So if fire happened, then there is not only production server destroyed, but also backup. People are doing backups, but very often backups are done not frequently. This stuff in our support, our engineers are seeing very often. People are feeling secure. Oh yes, the storage is destroyed for any reason, but thanks God we have backup. Can you help us to restore your this data from backup to new OpenE machine? And then we are trying to help the customer, and then we are discovering that backup, yes, is there, but it's 1 month old. And now imagine you have a 100 people company, and backup is 1 month old. How much work it costs, how much problem? Well, this happened very, very often. In my life, I am also doing backups. I also lost data few times already. But not until the end. I was doing backups. But from my experience, I believe that this is also everybody's experience. Restoring backup is really hard. It is taking hours. I was using, I don't remember now the software before, but lastly I was using Acronis. But even if Acronis is a great software and is very well known and many years on the market, it was also taking hours to restore data. And I believe that this is not only the Acronis case, this is the most of the typical backup software problem. Well, hard to restore means also complicated, and in the end of the day, yes, it was learning process to get this backup again, to get my data from backup back. When we are speaking about the private user, backups are not really, or backup software are not really expensive, but when we are talking about companies, usual, you need to pay a lot of money for the backup software. So this is also something what we need to keep in mind when we are talking to our customers. Some of the people are doing backups in public clouds. Well, I call those people optimistic because there are so many different problems with the public clouds. This is still very, very unsecure. Again and again, we are hearing about the different breaking in or stealing the data and so on. So, well, for some private pictures, I think this is fine. For data which is backup somewhere else, but for the company, this is strongly not recommended to keep the data in the public clouds. I guess that my colleagues from Thomas-Krenn will fully agree and will also recommend to all the company users to not go to the private to the public backups. Better create the private backup and keep your data on your premises, well, on the machines from Thomas-Krenn powered by OpenE. There are still some people who are not doing backups at all. Well, for these people, I'm afraid it's too late. It's kind of the really they are not even optimistic. You know, this is sick. You know, you need to backup data. This stuff is happening. This is kind of the obvious thing. It will happen. It will happen. Something will happen. If not today, then tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then in 5 years. But such things are happening all the time. I don't think that there is company, I don't think that there is a person in the world which was not losing data for this or other way, which was not really having this type of the issues. So backups are must, and this is something what people need to remember and need to protect their data. Okay, I was talking so much about it because we have a fantastic solution here. The fantastic solution is, of course, from Jovian DSS, and we called this on and offsite data protection. On and offsite data protection is practically using everything what ZFS is providing, but what we did is we made it really nicely working. We automated all the processes which are related to making backup and to restoring data. So our ideal solution for customer is on-site data protection within the production server and having at least one local backup server. And this is not good enough. It should be also, the data should be protected somewhere else, outside. It means offsite. So this is kind of the free copies of data. This is very, very minimum what we recommend and what I believe everybody will agree, since data is so critical today for all the companies, but also for the private people today. How it works, how on and offsite data protection works. We are using the beautiful thing which is coming with ZFS. This beautiful thing is called unlimited snapshot. We were creating snapshots in OpenE DSS v7 while we are doing, if I remember correctly, 20 snapshots per volume and 30 snapshots per system, and it was costing us a lot of development work. And this is a limit which we cannot overtake. And here with ZFS, we are getting as many snapshots as we want. We did 20 snapshots per volume because when you do more snapshots, then the system is starting to slow down. In Jovian DSS, we can do as many snapshots as we want. We want 20, no problem. 200, no problem. 2,000, 20,000, you can do as many snapshots as you want. So this is something fantastic, and this is what we are using here. So how it works? We are making snapshots in production server. We are copying production server to backup server so that we have the identical data on the both machines. And the delta from snapshots, just a difference between snapshots which is, let's say, made every 5 minutes, we are transferring from production server to backup server. So in the end of the day, user is getting almost identical data on the both machines. There is only 5 minutes difference if we are making snapshots and we are making transfers every 5 minutes. So on the next slide, you can see so-called retention plans, what we created. In our software, you can create as many plans as you want, and you can create it on the way as you like. Those are just examples. So on the production server, we have snapshots within 1 hour, which are done every 5 minutes. We keep 1 hour snapshots for 1 day, and 1 day snapshots for 1 month. And so you can see on the bottom line that you have a kind of the pretty good overview over all the snapshots what are happening on your production server. And we are moving data, as I mentioned. In this case, we are just transferring data of the 1 hour snapshot, and we are keeping on the backup server snapshots for 1 week of 1 hour, 6 months for 1 day, and 7 day snapshots for 5 years. Why not? We can keep it for 50 years as long as the hardware is available and is working. Then we can make the simple archiving system. So on the backup, we can set up the inexpensive slow machine, because this machine is only for backup. So you will need this data only when disaster is happening. It's just only depending on the company, of user, how critical is this data, how fast you need to get this data back. So this is everything in hand of you, in hand of your customers. So we are saying that our on and offsite data protection is better than any average backup solution. Well, we have reasons why. The first thing is that alone with using OpenE Jovian DSS, This is still not on and offsite data protection, but just using this stuff, just setting up the regular snapshots, you are having already the few levels of protecting your data. Well, rate is obvious. We are using the software rate, but thanks to self-healing and atomic transactions, right, the data is not able to get corrupted. This is another fantastic thing which is coming with ZFS. And thanks to the snapshots mechanism, we are protected against ransomware and viruses. So everybody of us is using Windows, and if you will be just going to the network environment, you will be finding the previous versions, and as long as you are using Jovian with snapshot plan, then you are able to move back to the snapshots which are, for example, before ransomware attack. So this thing which is now pretty tough on the market, we are getting so many ransomware attacks. Here with our software, you are able to protect yourself very easy. If you notice that something happened, you are just moving back to the snapshot which was done 5 minutes ago, and within 5 minutes there was not really, there's in the most cases nothing crucial happening. So you are good, you are protected, and you can still make your company working, and the things should work good again. Just using this very simple, very easy move, which can be done even without any administrator, without any higher tech help. Okay, when we are now talking about more professional protection, we are speaking about local backup server, because this is something what is very, very minimum. Every production data must be copied, must have a copy as regularly as possible. Today, when we are doing backup, then we did in OpenE just before we started with on and offsite data protection, we were doing backup once a day. We did it in the night. I think it was like 3 o'clock, because in this time we were sure that our office in United States is also not working, and office in Poland is not working, and office in Germany is not working. So all the databases were consistent. So we were able to do the backup, which was just okay, which was just proper backup. Otherwise, during the day, making backup was impossible. And this is also something what is happening in the most of the companies today, that backups usually are done just once a day. In case of our on and offsite data protection, we can do backups, as I was mentioning before, as often as we want. And databases will be consistent. This we did test many times. We have special mechanisms which are making the databases consistent, which are making all this stuff working absolutely properly. And imagine, instead one time a day, we are now making backups every 5 minutes. Well, we can do it every minute if we want. It's just a matter to be reasonable, because when you will be doing, so many snapshots, so many backups, then all your list of snapshots will become so long. So you just need to think, as I said, you just need to be reasonable. Just make as many snapshots as you really need, just to make it working properly. But as often as you need. So when now any disaster is happening and something goes not as you really need to, and we were speaking about those different situations, stealing data, destroying computers, well, fire, water, thunders, so many things are happening, and we all believe that it will not happen to me, but it will happen. And this I can guarantee you, something will happen, and you need to have backup. So yes, when you have backup, when you have a backup with OpenE, just go to the backup machine. Well, if you have those 5 minutes delay, so then actually on the next slide I have a very nice explanation how it works. When we are speaking about backups, always people are talking about RPO and RTO, recovery point objective and recovery time objective. Point objective means from the time or from incident to last successful backup. When backup was done 3 o'clock in the night and incident happened in the end of the working days, it means that you are losing work of the whole day. Recovery time objective means that how much time you need to restore your data. If company is running, we have 100 people company, disaster is happening and you need to restore your data, you need to make company working again. How much time administrator needs to make it working? So those are two critical objectives when you are making a backup system. And in case of OpenE, we are speaking about minutes, about recovery point objective, so we can do backups every 5 minutes. So the recovery point objective in our case, actually, as I was mentioning, every minute even, is depending on the administrator. So recovery point objective in our case is just so small. It's depending of you, between 1 minute to 5 minutes. We even tested 20 seconds, but I'm not sure if we should speak about it. But yes, this is also possible. So let us stick to our 5 minutes. This is the most reasonable backup time. And the recovery time objective, of course, this is now not as easy, but also not as complicated as getting the data from the regular backup solution. As I was mentioning about my experience with Acronis or with any other software, so we are not speaking about hours. In our case, when the engineer is trained, then the engineer can do it really within minutes. So making the backup machine to start work again as a production machine, and this can the engineer and all the Thomas-Krenn engineers are trained by OpenE, so this will be taking not longer than 5, in the worst case maybe 10 minutes, if the systems are set up properly and working as we were designing them. So, but even if we are talking, all this speech was about the on-site data protection, what happened in all office is getting in fire, or the thieves are coming and stealing all the computers from the office. So next day the office is not functioning. This is why we are still recommending the third location, offsite backup server. And the same story, if for any reason the data in the office is destroyed, then we still have an offsite backup server, and from this offsite backup server we can still restore the company, not data only, because in this case we are speaking all the company, all the functionality of the company, and we are protected, we are covered, and all this process is fully automated, easy to do, and it just works. We had already such cases. Well, in some of the situations we are of course requested for help, people are not trusting themselves. So we have this experience, we know how it works, but this works. I have now a slide where we are just putting together all the points, features, and benefits on the one page. So we are allowing people to make a backup of everything practically, because thanks to this solution we are able to make a mirror of the data, including the operating system, including applications, including just everything. I was talking a lot about the backup window. So in our case, we are solving this backup window problem very, very easily. You don't need to wait for the time when the databases are consistent. Everything is just working from the scratch, easy and no problematic. Ransomware, our nightmare of today, it's not a problem at all. Immediately, well, maybe not immediately, but within minutes we are able to go to the previous version. Actually, yes, if we are using the option from the previous versions, then you can do it almost immediately. In our case, the very, very important thing is that you don't need the third-party software. So you don't need to make a backup, you don't need Acronis, you don't need Vim, you don't need Symantec. You are just using storage software, Jovian DSS. This is a great thing, because when you are looking on the news from all those backup companies, they are just highlighting that the relationship with the storage companies. It means that every backup needs to store data somewhere. So backup software needs to have a storage. So every backup software needs storage, needs OpenE, needs EMC, needs NetApp, needs IBM. But what is beautiful, when you have OpenE, Jovian DSS, when you have a storage, you don't need the backup. You don't need backup software. You are making everything with OpenE software. Everything is inclusive. So this is why this is possible to make not only storage but also backup. And in this case, all these examples what I was describing here, we are speaking about business continuity. So we are able to do just with one software all those functionalities all together with one Jovian DSS. Of course, the transportation of the data is encrypted, but this is something what is more than obvious. In this slide, we are repeating a little bit, but repeating is always good, just to keep on our mind focus on these important things. But I want to highlight one more topic. Companies, when we are talking about such company having 100 employees, business continuity, having even 5 minutes delays when setting up, in case of the disaster, the new machine working, they don't want it. They want the high availability cluster, just to make sure that if the data on the production server is for any reason not available, then you have another cluster which is straight away picking up the duties and keep working, keep company running. So here we are. With Jovian DSS, we are offering to our customers practically all spectrum of different high availability solutions which is available on the market. we are very often comparing this to the airplanes and to pilots. So this is the most typical situation. You always need to have two pilots that in one of them is for any reason not able to make his duties, then you have always the second pilot who can make the airplane safely delivered to the airport. So this is also what is happening with our high availability solutions. So the first case we are showing the common storage. Common storage, you have two servers and one JBot with data. Both servers are having access to data on the same way. We have a few situations, a few good sales when the people were deciding for this solution because of very big capacity of the data. So when you are speaking about petabytes, when you are speaking about hundreds of hard disk drives, what you need to buy to store your data, then people are starting to be very serious about money what they need to spend for this solution. This is why having the protection level just on the server redundancy, two servers, one is covering the other, and data is covered by a RAID. So you can do Z1, it means like RAID 5 or Z2, RAID 6, or RAID or Z3, what is RAID 7, which is not really existing in hardware RAID. So we are able to protect data on this way here. And this is pretty widely used solution. And as I said, we sold already a bunch of the licenses just for this type of the solution. And this is less expensive. And also the feature pack, what we are selling for the shared storage is less expensive than feature pack for the mirrored storage. The second solution is for mirrored storage. We are having two servers and two JBots, so 4 boxes, and we are protecting data, just mirroring over the JBots and having redundancy on the server level. Everything is nice here, but what is not nice is that SAS is giving us only 10 meters distance which for the cables. So practically we cannot get out from the rack in case of the SAS connectivity. But a little bit more about what we are offering here. We have everything is one box, another option for shared storage, but this is practically like on this slide here, just when you put all the two servers together and JBot, so we are getting this type of the solutions what we see on this slide. So one box, so-called dual controller. Two motherboards and one JBot, everything is connected, nice, tidy, you can nicely put it into the rack, and most of the big guys like EMC or NetApp, they are just using this as a standard. So this is kind of the very normal product to be sold, and our technology partners, people like AIC, Supermicro, and bunch of others are also having this type of the solutions available. In the examples what I was showing before, we were talking about mirrored storage, but as I was mentioning on the previous slide, we have here 4 boxes. So this is not what many people like, that they need to buy the 4 servers or the 2 servers and JBots. Very often they have servers with the room for the hard disk drives, so people want to have everything in one JBot, but SAS technology is not allowing us to do it differently unless we are using the SAS expanders. So this is also possible to have only 2 servers, each of them is having hard disk drives, and thanks to SAS expanders, we can just use, thanks to SAS expanders, we can use just 2 boxes and make everything very, very nicely running. But again, we have always this distance of 10 meters. So 10 meters is very little. So people are looking for a better solution, and the better solution is Fibre Channel. Fibre Channel is fantastic. You can do 50 kilometers. I heard about even about 100 kilometers, but you know, to make it running, Fibre Channel is expensive. So this is not good for everybody. There are also solutions where you can use the bridges between SAS and Fibre Channel, which is a little bit less expensive because you don't need the Fibre Channel JBots, but it's still expensive because you need Fibre Channel bridges. So Atto is a great stuff. They are having a very good quality products, but not cheap. So attention, here we are. What we did, this is also something what is very unique, and practically I don't know anybody on the market who managed to do it. So what we have here, we have dual storage, we have a cluster, we have high availability done over Ethernet. And this is just fantastic stuff, because what we are enabling, we are making that people are able just through Ethernet, everybody knows Ethernet, can create a high availability cluster. One server can be in Munich, the other server can be in Augsburg, and both of them will be working on the absolutely same time. Everything will be available all time. If one will be getting, for any reason, not in charge, the second server will be still providing all the resources to the users, and everything is just working over Ethernet. Nobody did it for ZFS, and I am very, very proud about our development team. You know, great guys, because what they did use the experience what we had with OpenE DSS v7, the product what we are developing now for several years. And this experience we were able to recode and merge together with ZFS. So in the end of the day, we are getting fantastic solutions which is delivering enterprise functionality. Everything what we have here is enterprise, but on inexpensive platform. So you have Ethernet, you can use SATA hard disk drives here, what is also great. Maybe SATA and SAS in rotating memory, the price difference is not very high anymore, but when you go to SSD, then there is a still huge difference. So you will be able to deliver to your customers fantastic solutions, enterprise level, and working on the media which is available everywhere and all the time. And with this optimistic accent, I just want to finish and start the question and answers session. Well, I have still one more slide which I was adding to this presentation, where we have all these beautiful features which are coming with Jovian DSS. I did it not that I want now to start and explain feature by feature, but since everybody of you will be getting this webinar and will be getting this presentation, so this is why you have now all the features which are coming with Jovian DSS, and you can see data integrity, data protection, data availability, acceleration, optimization, virtualization, accessibility, and if you have any questions related to Jovian, related to on and offsite data protection, related to Metro cluster, and whatever you will find here, please contact us. Well, for the questions related to this presentation, to this webinar, here we are. Please, I will be trying to answer. So I don't see any questions coming. Okay, so it looks that the presentation was covering everything, what is nice. Okay, so in this case, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much that so many people were attending this webinar, and I hope that we will be able to meet again very soon because we are planning to deliver new stuff, even more interesting with Jovian DSS soon. So thank you very much and happy selling. Bye.